Hey everybody, welcome to a Cricut craft tutorial. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel to keep up to date on all the wonderful tutorials that we have coming up. Make sure you click that bell icon because that will alert you anytime that we post a new video. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to make a flour sack towel. These are super fun, super creative, and they make wonderful gifts. So let's get started. Alright, so we are ready to design our flour sack towel. So I'm going to go into my uploads because I know I already uploaded a cupcake from a previous video. And I'm going to use that one. But we're going to cut the top a different color than the bottom, and we're going to use contour to do that. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just make my cupcake here, and then I'm going to do my text. And all I'm going to put is Baker's Gonna Bake. But I'm going to put the bake under Baker's Gonna. So we're going to put that right there. We're going to do another text, and we're going to do Baker's Gonna Bake. And actually, now that I think about it, let's really play on the Taylor Swift. And we're going to put Baker's Gonna Bake, bake, whoops, and not spell things wrong. Bake. We'll play a little Taylor Swift. Who doesn't love Taylor? Little Tay-Tay, if you will. So there, Baker's Gonna Bake, 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 bake. And I think we need one more bake. We do. So let's add one final bake, and I realized I'm left off a comma anyways. Always make sure that you do read your words before you cut them, because occasionally you might miss one. So we're just going to line this up a little bit, and then we're going to play with our colors and our fonts. So for our fonts, I'm going to make them pretty blocky because I like that look on the flour sack towel. So you just have to find a font that you like. And I have a ton because I've downloaded a bunch of different ones. But you can use, a Cricut font if that's what you prefer. I actually really like this Blackboard font. It's one of my favorites. I think it's called Black Butter. Hold on. Yeah, Black Butter. It's super, super cute. I love it, love it, love it. So let's go ahead and use Black Butter for both of them because I think it's a fun font. And it's got another one called the Black Butter. I want to say it's Black Butter Smash, and it's got all the little glyphs and stuff on it. So we're going to do this, and I really want to change the spacing on these. They're a little bit far apart for my taste, so we'll go ahead and squish them a little bit together. And I might ungroup because I still think the words are kind of far away, and I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to change the letter spacing on these just a couple little dots down. I think they just sit a little bit far apart for my taste. So there we go. Baker's Gonna Bake. Bake, 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 bake. Now we can play with our colors and do whatever colors we want. So I think my kitchen's like teals and grays. So I got to remember what colors I have for my HTV too. I don't own a ton. I don't use it a lot, but I wanted to show you guys this. So I'm going to do purple, and then remember, I'm going to contour this cupcake so that I can cut them in two different colors. So for now, I know that I have a brown, and I want to use the brown, I think, for the bottom of him. So I just kind of want to see what that's going to look like. So you can play with your colors and just kind of see what it's going to look like. So I'm thinking we'll do the bottom brown because it's going to be like a chocolate cupcake. And then I want to do the top of it pink. So I'm just going to put it brown for now. And then I want to show you guys how to contour. So we're going to click on our cupcake and go to the contour, which is down here right at the bottom. And click contour. And all we have to do is get rid of the top of our cupcake. So you just click on each piece, and what that does is it hides it so that when you come back here, you'll see that you don't have a cupcake top. Now, there's a couple ways you can go about doing this because you can actually upload a second cupcake into here. And that way you can get a good idea of what it's going to look like. And we're going to contour this cupcake, but this one we're going to contour just this bottom piece off, and you're just going to click away from it. So we're just going to go ahead and size him so he's a little bit bigger than that. And then you can make him pink. And there you go. There is your flour sack towel design. Now, I'm going to just double check with how big my entire design is. It's about 13 inches wide, so it's a little bit big for my towel. So what I can do, and I might just change how my bakes are done. because I kind of like the width. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take one of my sets of bakes and just move them under the other. Now you can see, look at how big that line spacing is. It's awful. So you can go up here to line spacing, and let me zoom in a little bit. I just realized how far apart this is. You see this line spacing? You can change this, and it's going to take a lot to get these really close together. So just keep clicking down a whole bunch, and then it'll be a bit. I know this font, and this font takes a while to get the lines pretty close, or at least as close as you would want them. So all I'm going to do then is click alignment, and I want to center them, and then I'm going to move it over. And this is really easy because you can see the center of your cupcake. So you can easily see the center of the words bake. So let's go ahead and just zoom this out a little bit more so we can see the whole design. I'm going to select the whole thing. And now we're only at 8 inches by 10. So I think that's really, really good. The only thing next we have to do now is we're going to attach. And we're only going to attach the top line to the top line. And then we're going to attach the bottom section together. We don't want to select both and attach them because it's going to leave this huge hole here where we're going to have a bunch of wasted HTV. These we don't need to attach at all because they're going to cut on their own sheets. So let's go ahead and click Make It. And I want to remind you guys, anytime you use HTV, mirror your image. You do not have to mirror the cupcake if you don't care which way it faces, but if you care, go ahead and mirror your cupcake. And if you mirror one piece, make sure you mirror the other. And to mirror, if you look, all I'm doing is clicking on my mat, and right here where it says mirror, I'm just turning that on. And you'll see that now it's going to cut it backwards. Make sure that we place our HTV shiny side down, as always, and I'll remind you guys again when we go to cut our HTV for this project. I'm very excited to show you guys how this is going to look on our flour sack towel. So let's go ahead, get ready to cut, and then we can put it on our towel. We're ready to cut the iron-on for the flour sack towel. So I'm just going to show you this one. I have a couple different types of HTV just because I'm using some scraps. This one here is going to be, this is the top. I ended up choosing teal instead of pink. This is the top of the cupcake. This one is the Sister Easy Weed. This is some cheap stuff that I got off of Amazon. I am not the biggest fan of it, but it will work in a pinch. So make sure that you are putting your iron-on shiny side down, and you have it set to iron-on. I'm going to go ahead and click continue, and it should eventually, there we go. Your machine does remind you to turn on mirror, which is really nice. I did turn mirror on, so everything's good. I had to move my cupcake on my screen down just so that I could fit it in what space I have with my iron-on. This was just a scrap from another project that I did. I always save all my scraps because they come in handy for stuff like this. So it's going to go ahead and cut all of this out. And then with the stuff I got from Amazon, there's not like a shiny side. There's kind of a matte side and then like a stripy side. So all I did was I just peeled up a corner to double check which side I needed to place down. And you can do that with any of your HTV. You can just peel up a little corner and just see which side you needed to peel, because it's not going to cut on that corner anyways. So it won't be the end of the world if you need to peel that corner up. But this one, it's more the matte side and not the stripy side. So we're just going to go ahead and insert this one and cut it. And I'm going to trim around my cupcake top just to save some of this HTV because I may use it for a small project. And it's always good to keep. It's expensive. So I try to save as much of my HTV as I can. Plus, you're going to have to cut it really close to your project regardless when you go to put it on. So it's okay that you're going to need to cut it a little bit. It's done cutting the bottom, but I want to pull off some of this stuff, and then I'll cut the purple off camera because you guys don't need to see it. But you'll see how easy to take off this stuff is. I mean, it comes right off, and it's kind of rubbery. I don't know how else to describe it. If you've not worked with HTV before, you'll notice a huge difference between this and then the adhesive vinyl, because this stuff is kind of stretchy and it feels kind of like very strange, and it doesn't have adhesive because the adhesive part is actually activated by the heat. So let's go ahead and pull this guy off, and it looks like he cut pretty well. So we're going to go ahead and place our purple on. And you want to make sure that, especially if you're using scraps, that you do have enough that it will cut and fit onto your piece, because obviously I've used this purple before. So I'm just going to go ahead and load it and let it cut, and I'm going to cut out my brown bottom here. And as always, just try to save as much vinyl as you can. Like I said, the stuff I got from Amazon was not expensive. I do not recommend it, especially for shirts. But for things like flour sack towels or tote bags, it seems to work okay. I just did not like it on a shirt. It really didn't hold. It was really a pain in the butt to work with. So the flour sack towel should be a lot easier. But there you go. There's your cup top, or your cup bottom. And then here is your cupcake top. So there's your cupcake right there. And then we'll get the words weeded out. Those will take a little bit longer. And once we get all that done, I will show you guys how to apply this to your towel. We are ready to iron on. Now, I am just using a home iron, so nothing fancy. All I did was folded my flour sack towel in half and found the center, and you can see the little bit of a line that's there. That's how I find my center, and then I find a piece that's easy to center, like the bake, bake, bake part. Center that, and then I can center everything else off of that. I am covering this with a piece of parchment paper, and I do have this on a cookie sheet so that I am not ironing onto my desk. So all I'm going to do is just use my iron. It is set to the hottest setting. And I'm just going to put a lot of pressure on this. Now these are a lot easier if you have a heat press. I'm not cool enough for a heat press yet. That is in the works. We are considering purchasing one very soon. But until we do, we have to use our iron. So all we're going to do is just press and press and press. And this does take a lot of pressure. There is no steam in my iron. However, it is a steam iron. But there is no steam in it. This does like to beep for whatever unknown reason. I think it just does it when it gets to temperature. But then it likes to beep several more times while I'm doing projects. Hence why I hate this. If you have an easy press, it is a lot easier to do this as well. But I do recommend, if you're going to sell things, please use a heat press, as the easy press is just basically a glorified giant iron. You still have to add a lot of pressure to it. And it does not have the same adhesion point as, say, a heat press. So we're going to go ahead and check it really quick and see how it did. Like I said, it does take a little bit of time and practice to get this type of stuff. And this is the cheap junk from Amazon, so it also has a little bit different. You can see it's starting to peel right there. So all I'm going to do is go back in. I found where it's peeling a little bit. It probably just didn't get a lot of pressure right there. I'm sorry it bumped you because the cord's stuck around the thing. So we're just going to make sure that we press right where it didn't have any adhesion. I probably just didn't press there as well as I pressed maybe to the edges. So just make sure that you are putting a lot of pressure on each point and a lot of heat. Not so much that you melt it. There is a fine line as to too much heat and not enough. Put that in front of you this time. So let's go ahead and try to peel it again and see how it goes. And you'll see this time much, much better. Just peel slowly. Also make sure that you're reading your directions, because depending on what type of HTV you are using, some of it is going to be a cold peel. This is a hot peel, so you do want to peel this off. And yes, guys, I know, I forgot. I missed a comma, but this is just for my house, so whatever. People know I can't spell. It's fine. So if you're going to give this as a gift, again, always make sure that you spell check before you do anything else. So now we're going to use our cupcake center, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to center it so you can see about where your center is, and it's this little line. So I'm just going to center him with the K in bake, and we're just going to lay him down. Now I do want to make sure that I cover the whole thing with parchment paper, because you don't want to touch your HTV that you've already placed on there with a hot iron. And I am going to try to be very careful and not to actually iron on directly to the HTV as it is anyways, just to be safe. And make sure that if you're using a home iron, that you are not rubbing it like you would if you were ironing a shirt. You want to press, lift, and press again. Never, ever, ever rub your iron, because you can actually move your decal and it will leave an adhesive glob, or it could melt your decal on there, and we don't want that. We want it to look nice and crisp and clean and professional, even though all we're using is an iron. Now you can see how much pressure I'm putting on this by the little wrinkles in my hand there. I put pretty much all of my body weight on these just because if you don't, they don't like to stick. And I have noticed with the Amazon stuff, the color does make a big difference. Like you can see, it's not sticking. It's hot as heck. So also be careful, especially if you're putting a cookie sheet under this, because the cookie sheet does get very, very hot. So you want to make sure that you are being very, very careful as to what you're touching. The cookie sheet does tend to get very, very warm, and we don't want to burn ourselves. So that's why I put the cookie sheet under there, though, because it gives you a hard surface as well as a little bit of heat from the back, which for me seems to help heat this up and keep it stuck. It just activates, I think, the adhesive a little bit better. And I can see right here we didn't get real good stick. So again, we're just going to go back on it. The actual good brand HTV, I'm not noticing, oops, and then I slid. I don't notice this problem as much where you're getting like little spots where it doesn't want to stick. It's just this cheap junk from Amazon. For future reference, I really do not like this stuff, but it's what I had because I'm not big on the HTV. If you guys watch my channel, you'll notice there's not a lot of videos where I do any of this iron-on. It's just not something I'm passionate about. I don't really like to do it, but I will do it because somebody asked to see this process. So I'm going to go ahead and make you guys this flower sack towel. Now I will say I'm excited to use this in my kitchen because I think it's adorable and I do love to bake. Do you guys like to bake? Let me know below because I feel like I always want to put like a baking video up, but I don't know if anybody would ever want to see it because I feel like a lot of people that watch my channel are Cricketers and just general crafters and maybe are not bakers. But what are you guys passionate about when it comes to crafting? Is there like a specific thing that got you into crafting? For me, I started when I was a kid, so I've been crafting a really long time, but I really want to get to know you guys and know what your passions are and what you guys like to do. It helps me to know what kind of videos you guys want to see. Now again, you can see this one is the Sister Easy Weed, so the teal is a little bit of a higher quality iron-on. And I slid a little bit off of my cookie sheet, so I'm just going to readjust. You can reuse this parchment paper several times, so you don't need to throw it away. You just put it in a little folder. You can even fold it in half if you wanted to. I use it a couple times, and then I typically will just toss it. It's really cheap. I got mine from, I believe, the Dollar Tree for a whole $1, and I think I get like, I don't know, quite a few, like 52 square feet or 25 square feet. I don't know. It's a lot, and it's cheap, so that way if you just throw it away, it's no big deal. But you can use a Teflon sheet as well. You can get those off of Amazon. I just find with the home iron, the Teflon tends to be a little thicker and you have to press even harder and put more heat on it. So for me, I just prefer to use my iron with the parchment paper. Again, this is going to be a hot peel, so just carefully peel it off. And I can see right here I'm getting a little bubble, so I'm just going to go ahead and repress because that didn't adhere very well on that little swirl. And it may just not have been pushed on enough because it's kind of in the center. And sometimes when I find things that are not pressed on enough, I will take, if you look at the little point of my iron, I will make sure that that is right on something that I think isn't sticking very well. And I will press it very, very hard. But you do want to be careful because you could potentially put a dent if it's too hard and too hot into your HTV. So just make sure that you're watching that. This is coming off really, really nice. We're doing very well here, so let's go ahead and peel this guy. It looks like he's stuck really, really well. I think this is coming out very cute. It's so much fun to make these things. I just, like I said, they're not my passion. I just don't particularly enjoy them. So now we've got the baker's gonna, so we're going to go ahead and try to center that best we can and make it even. That looks pretty good. As you notice, guys, I do just eyeball a lot of it, but I can still see my center line. So if it's not perfect, which it's not, I can see that it's tilted a little bit. So we're just going to re-tilt it. And this is nice with this stuff, unlike the adhesive stuff. If you stuck it down and you didn't get it quite right on the adhesive, you have to pray to God that it didn't stick very well. This, you can reposition it a bunch until you get it right where you want it. Now, again, remember, make sure that you're covering the entire design that's under this with the parchment paper to protect it from your iron, because you don't want to burn it. And you'll see, again, I'm just using that same piece of parchment paper through the whole thing. It can be reused many, many times. Make sure you don't have any rips or tears in it, though, because if you do, you potentially could get some of that iron heat directly on the HTV, so you just do want to watch for that type of stuff. My iron's probably going to beep again here in a second. I think it just beeps because it's getting to temperature again, and I think this thing's crazy. This is not my favorite tool, but we do what we have to do to make these. If you guys have a heat press, let me know which one you have and what you like about it. I'm very curious as to what my fellow crafters think of their different products that they have purchased, and also where you got it from. I see a lot come from like eBay and Amazon. I don't know that there's really anywhere local that sells this kind of stuff, so let me know. And also let me know what your favorite colors are for HTV, because I feel like I never know what to even keep on hand, with the exception of like black and white. I feel like those ones are super popular, but everything else I'm sort of like, I don't know what everyone likes or what everyone uses a ton. And I see it got a little fuzzy. There's the beep. So let's go ahead and check our letters and see how they're doing, because that one was kind of a smaller one. And let's just take a looky look and see if they stuck. This is also something we're not going to be wearing, so I don't worry quite as much about how well things stuck, but I can see that that S just did not stick very well. So we're just going to go ahead and, like I said, tip of the iron just towards the front of it, and we're just going to put a lot of pressure right where I know it's not stuck. And because I saw that the S wasn't stuck, I'm just going to move down and just do a few seconds on each of the letters with just the tip of it. But again, don't use the tip like this, because you'll burn your letters and you'll melt them. Just even pressure as best you can over all of your projects. So don't just use the tip to squish it on there, because you'll burn it and it will end up looking a little funky. So we don't want to do that. So let's go back in here and let's repeel and see how it stuck. Oh, much better. Check the G. Oh, and like I said, this is hot peel, so do make sure that you peel it hot, but watch your fingers because it does get warm. And it is all done. So let me see if I can get this all on the camera for you. I might move you guys a little bit here. Let's see. There we go. Pull you up. And there's our flour sack towel. It is all finished. Super easy, super fun. You guys can get really creative. These make fantastic wedding gifts. They make great housewarming gifts, and they're super cheap. You can get flour sack towels just about anywhere. I keep mine as large as they come. I do not cut them down. If you guys have any questions, please let me know down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. If there's a tutorial that you're looking for, make sure you post it below. I will make you your tutorials, whatever you guys want to see. I'm always looking for great ideas and things that you want to learn how to make. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos all the time. There's a little bit of dog hair stuck to my flour sack towel. Of course, I can't grab it because I'm trying to grab it with the wrong hand. But these are so fun. I really hope you guys had fun learning how to make these. If you have questions, leave them below. I hope you guys have a great day.